Ladies and gentlemen, Convocation is now in session. As Chancellor, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our 295th Convocation. To all our graduates, first let me say congratulations. You have worked hard to achieve this, and graduation represents a major milestone in your lives. At Convocation, we assemble as a university community, the University of Western Ontario community, to celebrate and to recognize your achievements at Western and to wish you every success in the future. However, your learning days are far from over. Learning is a lifelong process, and Western has not provided you with the answer to all questions. At most, we hope that what stays with you is a way of thinking objectively and approaching problems with an open mind and a healthy respect for new ideas, all tempered with compassion and empathy for the human condition. You are forever a cherished member of this great university, founded more than a century ago, and we welcome you into the Western family. Again, congratulations to each and to every one of you. Now today we are especially honored to have with us the Honorable Deb Matthews, Minister of Health and Long-Term Care for Ontario and Member of Provincial Parliament, London North Centre. So we welcome you, Deb. Over here, Deb. We welcome you, Deb, and take pleasure inviting you to bring greetings to this convocation on behalf of the Government of Ontario.
This is a day of great celebration. Congratulations to all of the graduates today. You have earned this day. Enjoy this day. You know, the great thing about education is no one can ever take it away from you. So congratulations, and on behalf of Premier Dalton McGuinty, my colleagues in the legislature, Chris Bentley, Khalil Ramal, and the Minister of Training Colleges and Universities, John Malloy, I express my deepest congratulations to every single one of you. Thank you.
Dr. Matthews, I can find you now. We are most grateful for your visit today and for your very supportive words. Thank you for being part of our convocation. Now today we are pleased to confer an honorary degree upon the Right Honorable Paul Martin in acknowledgement of his influence on higher education, research, and development, and his many contributions to our national life. I'm delighted to welcome him to this convocation, and to present our distinguished candidate, I will now call on Dr. Amit Chakma, President and Vice Chancellor.
Mr. Chancellor, graduates, family, and friends of graduates, and honored guests, it is my pleasure to introduce you to businessman, politician, financial visionary, volunteer, and a great Canadian, the Right Honorable Paul Martin. Mr. Martin was born in Windsor and grew up in Windsor and Ottawa, where his father, Paul Martin Sr., served as a federal politician for many years. After graduation from high school, Paul Martin Jr. studied philosophy and history at St. Michael's College at the University of Toronto and attended the Faculty of Law there before being called to the Ontario Bar in 1966. Before going into politics, Mr. Martin enjoyed a successful business career, serving as an executive at Power Corporation of Canada in Montreal and as chairman and chief executive officer of the CSL Group Incorporated. Mr. Martin is best known, however, for his distinguished career in Canadian politics. He was the Member of Parliament from La Salle-Lemar in Montreal, Quebec for 20 years. During that time, Mr. Martin served as Canada's 34th Prime Minister of Finance and then was elected Liberal leader and served as 21st Prime Minister of Canada. As Finance Minister, Mr. Martin erased a $42 billion deficit in 4 years and followed that with 5 consecutive budget surpluses, thus laying a strong foundation for Canada's economic future. Canadians today are the beneficiaries of such a visionary leadership. Mr. Martin has said that education is the quintessential infrastructure for everything else, and that knowledge and skills are central to growth and central to a fair society. At an event in Waterloo, then Prime Minister Martin set aside his written remarks and made the following remarks from his heart. Quote, "Sovereignty of nations in the 21st century will not be defined by military power, but by brain power," end of quote. To that end, as Minister of Finance, Mr. Martin produced budgets that allowed for the creation of the Canada Research Chairs, the Canada Foundation for Innovation, and Genome Canada, just to name a few. These important programs are still major funders of researchers here at Western and across Canada today. Mr. Martin also supported increased funding for the 3 major academic granting councils. Since leaving office, Mr. Martin has spoken often about global financial imbalances and its effect on nations such as Africa. He co-chaired a high-level panel responsible for submitting a report on a new strategic vision for the African Development Bank, and together with Nobel Prize laureate Wangari Maathai, he co-chairs a $200 million Poverty Alleviation and Sustainable Development Fund for the 10-nation Congo Basin rainforest. He also sits on the Advisory Council of the Coalition for Dialogue on Africa. Domestically, he is leading 2 very important initiatives: the Martin Aboriginal Education Initiative, which aims at reducing the Aboriginal youth dropout rate and at increasing the number of Aboriginal students attending post-secondary institutions. Additionally, with his son David, he has co-founded the Capital for Aboriginal Prosperity and Entrepreneurship Fund, whose investments seek to further a culture of economic independence, ownership, and entrepreneurship amongst both on and off reserve Aboriginal peoples through the creation and growth of successful businesses. Western is proud to be a partner in Mr. Martin's Aboriginal Education Initiative. Mr. Martin holds honorary degrees from at least 4 other Canadian universities, and in 2002, he received the University of Toronto Law School's Distinguished Alumni Award. He has been married to Sheila Cowan since 1965, and they have 3 sons. Earlier this year, Mr. Martin spoke at the Cambridge Union Society about sovereign rights and sovereign duties. At the end of his address, he reminded his audience, quote, that the future of globalization is the great issue of our time, and the issues of global poverty, climate change, and financial crisis are all manifestations of the need to make it work better. It is humbling to note how much Mr. Martin himself has done in office and since leaving office to make it work better. In recognition of Mr. Martin's auspicious political career, his incredible financial acumen, and his devotion to the world's people through his work on behalf of Africa and the Aboriginal peoples of Canada, Mr. Chancellor, in the name of Senate, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon the Right Honorable Paul Martin.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Martin. Thank you. Terrific. Just a minute. I have to give you your degree. You want to go without that, and your citation. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, the Right Honorable Paul Martin, to address Convocation. Dr. Martin.
Chancellor Thompson, President Chakma, Chairman Angeletti, Dr. O'Sullivan, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I begin my remarks, in a little bit of trouble. On the way in, President Chakma said, what year were you married? I said, 1965. Sheila is in front of me and just looked at me and said, 1964. It was President Chakma's fault. Before beginning my remarks, I want to thank the university from the bottom of my heart for the honor that has been bestowed upon me. To do here with Minister Matthews, who is an old friend from Western, with so many other friends who are here from London, I must say it really touches me more than I can tell you. And to have received an honorary degree from one of North America's great universities is humbling enough. But when that university is the University of Western Ontario, which has so guided and influenced the attitudes and the expectations of that part of the world where Sheila and I were born and raised, I cannot help but feel most deeply the honor that you have done for me. To you, the graduates, who have worked so hard to get here, let me first congratulate you, and then let me thank you, because this is your day, and I am very grateful that you're allowing me to share it with you. All of you are graduates of the Faculty of Education, and I cannot think of a profession that is more important than the one that lies before you. There can be few things as essential to humanity's growth and to our mutual understanding than the transmission of knowledge from one generation to another. And this is why the choice that you have made for your futures speaks so well of you and to all of those who are here who have supported you. And that is also why we must encourage our best and our brightest to become teachers. Most of us believe in the pursuit of knowledge for knowledge's sake. All of us believe that education is the key to a better life. There's a young child crying. I want to tell you a story. I'm going to interrupt this for a second. One of my first political speeches, I was making this speech, an incredibly emotional speech. I was brilliant. And at one point, a child started to cry, and the mother picked the child up and took the child out of the room. And I'm sure you've had this problem, Deb. And so I said to the mother as she went out, I said, "Madam, don't worry, the child isn't bothering me." And she turned and she said, "Yes, but you're bothering it." So, anyway, picking up on what President Chakma said, there is a further reason as well for stressing education. It has to do with our sovereignty as a nation. It is one that we don't talk about enough, and yet it is one that is increasingly coming to the fore in a world where the dynamic is shifting and where new players are coming to dominate the global scene. And that is our well-being as a nation. While our competitors in Europe, in China, and in India number in the billions of people, we are but a country of 34 million. And thus we cannot afford to waste a single talent. And in short, when you walk out of these doors, you will have the future of Canada in your hands. And it's for this reason that I would like to talk to you. They're coming at me from both sides. It's for this reason that I would like to talk to you about one aspect of that future, the future of Aboriginal Canada. And I want to congratulate Western. You had Phil Fontaine here earlier in the week. Now, you may ask why I would raise this with you today. And it's really not because I think you will spend the rest of your careers teaching in Aboriginal schools, although you would make an enormous difference if you did so. It's because no matter where you teach in Canada, you will on numerous occasions have one or two or perhaps many Aboriginal students in your classes. And when that happens, I hope that you will take the time to understand the voyage, the very difficult voyage that those students took to get there, and the pressures that they are under, unfortunately, to leave. The First Nations, the Métis and Inuit people of our country represent the youngest and the fastest growing segment of our population. And yet among First Nations, the high school dropout rate is 40% off reserve and 60% on reserve, compared to 9% roughly for non-Aboriginal Canadians. And it's much the same for the Inuit and only slightly better for the Métis. And I don't have to tell you about the wasted potential and the human despair that this speaks to. Now, the reasons for this are not hard to find. All of you know of the tragic consequences that occurred when small youngsters were torn away from their families and sent to residential schools where they were forbidden to speak their language or embrace their traditions. And those of you who have seen television this week, although I know it's been a busy week for you, will have seen the first attempts at reconciliation in our country, the national event that took place in Winnipeg. But if you go to a reserve and you talk to people not that much older than I am, in fact, a lot of them younger, they will have been to those residential schools and they'll tell you what happened. The residential schools began in the name of education. Although I don't know how this was squared subsequently when its students were forbidden to go to university because they were, in quotes, status Indians. Now, some of you may say, or some may say, I don't think anybody here, may say that that's all ancient history. But regrettably, it is not ancient history. The last residential school closed its doors in the mid-1990s. And the prohibition against going to university only ended when I was in high school. And that's not that long ago. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just got to say that I just saw one of the students turn to the person beside her and say, that was 100 years ago. Even worse than this, and I noticed the rest of you laughed, the unfairness that I just described still continues. Education on reserve is within the federal government's jurisdiction. Compared to the elementary and the secondary schools that are in provincial jurisdiction, the federal government today underfunds First Nations schools, and I'm sure Phil Fontaine spoke to his group about this, on reserve by anywhere from 20 to 50% per student. This is discrimination. There is no other word for it. And if anybody wants to see what this underfunding leads to, all I have to do is visit any one of the countless on-reserve schools, primarily in northern Canada, where the consequences are all too visible to the naked eye. Now, finally, however, there is a call for change, which is starting to be heard, and I am glad to say that Western is among its leaders. Your university, as Dr. Chakma said, is lending its expertise to help improve literacy and numeracy in countless ways across the country. They really are fomenting a revolution, and they are really at the center of 2 pilot projects in 2 elementary schools on reserves not far from here. And in fact, I've just come from those reserves as our own education initiative is spearheading the project. And they're modeled on the Ontario Elementary School Turnaround Program, where Dr. O'Sullivan and Western have shown so much leadership, and where I can tell you their ongoing involvement is going to be vital to its success. And our hope is when the results of the projects are in, that we'll be able to use them as models for other First Nations elementary schools across the country. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that they're very small steps in a very long road. On virtually every social indicator, from infant mortality to the very high dropout rates, Canada's First Peoples are the first people in our country, and that's wrong. That a third world exists here in one of the world's richest countries is beyond comprehension. I am sure that some of you will look upon careers at the beginning in Africa or in Central America, and if any one of you goes to the developing world to teach, you're going to run into Canadians throughout those places doing extraordinary work. You're also going to run into Brits, Germans, French, and Americans, all there to help. But when you come back to Canada and you contemplate our own third world, that of Canada's First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, you will note that there are no Brits, there are no Germans, French, or Americans here to help. And that's understandable, because they're perfectly entitled to believe that we, in this very rich country, will deal with our own issues of poverty. But what is not understandable is that neither are there very many Canadians here to help. And the question is, how can we be so indifferent to the downsides of our own history? We talk about our values as Canadians, but what does it say about our commitment to those values when they're not even fulfilled within our own borders? How can we present ourselves as an example abroad when the world can see how we treat those at home who most need a measure of social justice and the opportunity for a better life? Now, at this point, I would understand if you would say to me, look, this is the happiest and the most significant day of our lives. And why is it? Because you are raising, why am I telling you all this on such an important day? But the answer is because of the importance of the career choice that you have made. And because as Canadians, we have so much history to guide us and we really don't know it, and we are dependent upon you to teach us our history. The fact is, Canada has the ability to ensure that the next generation of Aboriginal Canadians becomes the first generation of real and positive change. We have the capacity to ensure that the generation that exists today is the generation that stays in school, that is given the tools to succeed, the generation that builds the great companies, that paints the great paintings, the generation that breaks the cycle of poverty. But for this to happen, we must accept that we can no longer impose our ways. We must build in the ways of Aboriginal Canada, their identity, their traditions, their beliefs, and their strengths. And we must build on your strengths. The world has changed, and it is you as teachers who will lead the effort to meet that change, by nurturing young minds, by caring for them, by helping them to grow, by inciting them to question, and by leading them to learn. And that's why I say to you, the future of your country in all its diversity is in your hands, in your very, very capable hands. Now, I got to tell you something. I was told by the university that I had about 8 minutes in which to speak, and that was it. And if I went overtime, I don't know what happens, but all I can tell you is you made a mistake. You gave me the honorary degree already, and you can't take it away. But I will. Let me close by simply saying how proud everybody in this room, everybody on this stage, everybody up there, is of each and every one of you. There's a great world out there, but it is yours to make it better. And whether you're teaching young Aboriginal Canadians, or whether you're teaching new Canadians with the land they have come to, or whether you're teaching Canadians whose families have been here for hundreds of years, they still need to know our history. And you can make all of the difference, and I know you will. You are graduates of a great university, and you're now as well equipped as you can possibly be. And what I've raised here in terms of the challenges before you have been embedded in everything that you have been taught. And the opportunity now is for you to put that to work. And from your own experience, which I'm sure you gained before you even came here, you know that the world out there needs you, and you know that you have the capacity and the ability and the understanding to succeed. And let me simply say that there isn't one person on this stage who doesn't envy you for what you're about to do, including me. And I just want to say thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Paul, for your thought-provoking address and for highlighting the importance of education and the plight of our Aboriginal people. Your financial acumen served Canada well for many years, and it is heartening to see that you are now helping Africa to improve its financial health. At the same time, you have not forgotten those here at home who need your help. I have no doubt that your programs for Canada's Aboriginal people will make a difference, because we know that although they are small baby steps, the steps that are being taken are making a difference in at least the two Aboriginal communities that we are working with you in trying to improve the educational conditions there. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in congratulating our newest Honorary Doctor of Laws, Dr. Paul Martin.
At this time, I take pleasure in asking the Vice Chancellor to present a distinguished colleague the Angela Armitt Award for Excellence in Part-Time Teaching.
In 1989, the Angela Armitt Award for Excellence in Teaching by Part-Time Faculty was established at Western, to be awarded based on evidence of continuing outstanding contributions to the academic development of students. Would Professor David Watson please step forward? David Watson joined the Faculty of Education in 2001 after 35 years of teaching mathematics for the London District School Board. During his time at Western, David has implemented a personal education philosophy that is, quote, not so much about transmitting information as it is about transforming knowledge so as to make it accessible to others, end of quote. In doing so, he has encouraged many future teachers to let go of their innate fear of math, embrace its beauty, and pass the love of mathematics on to others, not a mean feat. David has also been very active in educational outreach at local, provincial, national, and international levels, where he is much sought after as a leader in the design and use of technology to support, enrich, and extend school mathematics programs. Mr. Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present to you Professor David Watson, recipient of the Angela Armitt Award for Excellence in Teaching by Part-Time Faculty.
Congratulations, David. Judging by the cheers, you are a very popular teacher. That's terrific.
That's my passion.
Well, that's good. That's your medal. And this is your certificate. Good. Thank you. Again, well, you were very good. I take pleasure now in asking the Vice Chancellor to present to Convocation our newly appointed Professor Emeritus.
The designation of Professor Emeritus is an honorary title which recognizes the long and distinguished academic service. Will Professor Alan Pearson please step forward? Alan Pearson received his BA in philosophy from Colgate University with a concentration in philosophy of education. From 1995 to 2007, he served as the Dean of Education at Western. Currently, he is a professor in education and a faculty associate in the Teaching Support Center. He has also served as a visiting scholar at the Institute of Education, University of London, and as a visiting scholar in education at the Graduate School of Education, Harvard University. He has been a member of the Governing Council of the Ontario College of Teachers and has served as chair of Ontario Association of Deans of Education. As a scholar, he has published one book and numerous articles, conference papers, and reviews on issues concerning teacher education and critical thinking. Mr. Chancellor, I present Professor Emeritus Alan Pearson.
Congratulations.
Thank you
I
very
can
much.
tell you are very popular by the cheers. I hope you keep teaching.
I will. I will.
Good, great.
Thank you.
Will the candidates for degrees please rise? Mr. Chancellor, I'm very much honored to present to you the candidates who have successfully completed their academic programs at Western. I ask you to admit them to the degrees and diplomas for which they have been recommended by the Senate of our university.
Under the authority vested in me by the Senate, you will be admitted to the degrees and diplomas as shall be announced by the public orators.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Will the candidates please be seated now? Mr. Chancellor, graduating students, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Convocation is the single most important time of celebration in the life of the University of Western Ontario. Today, we honor those graduating students who, through determination, hard work, and intelligence, have met the demanding standards of a Western degree. Today is also a proud day for all of us associated with Western, including our Board of Governors and Senate, our faculty, our staff, and our many friends in the community. It is wonderful to see so many members of our community of learning who have taken the time to join us and celebrate this important day in the lives of our graduates and the life of the university. Today, those of you crossing this stage join a special group known as Alumni Western. That numbers more than 260,000 people living in 150 different countries around the world. Mr. Chris Marcus, President-elect of the Alumni Association, is here today, and I'd ask him to stand and be recognized. Western's Board of Governors is charged with the responsibility for the overall governance of this institution. Today we have with us Mr. Frank Angeletti, Chair of our Board of Governors. I'd ask him to please stand and be recognized. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the parents, spouses, children, relatives of our graduates who are here today. This celebration simply would not have been possible without your loving support. So on behalf of this year's graduating class, please accept our sincere thanks for the role you have played in the journey that led to today. Now let me turn to our graduates. Let me congratulate once again the remarkable women and men who graduate today with Western degrees. Today, you become partners in the outstanding academic achievements of Western. My warmest wishes to each and every one of you. Congratulations. Now we'll proceed with the awarding of the degrees. Before we proceed, I have two special requests for those of you in the audience. First, please withhold your applause for the graduates crossing the platform until each group of graduates has received degrees. You'll receive a signal from the orator as to when to join us in applauding our graduates. This will ensure that every graduate receives your full courtesy throughout the ceremony today. Second, we know that photographs are an important memory of this occasion for graduates and their family and friends. To ensure that you in the audience have the best opportunity to get good pictures, I ask that you do the following. On your special graduate is approximately 50 to 60 names in the program from crossing the stage. please proceed to the area near the wall to my right, and the ushers will then guide you forward to this area in order that you may capture your special moments either on film or more likely on digital devices. I now call on the public auditors to introduce the candidates for degrees.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies for the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Stephen Leslie Anderson. Elizabeth Judith Ann Colson. Lucy W. Karanja. Teresa Shields. Michael Brian Van Bussel. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Education. Stephanie Joy Battock, Mary Irene Beckberger, Karen Evelyn Marie Brunel. Shanna Burns, Catherine Ann Christie, Katrina Natalie Craig. Rebecca Leanne Cuthbert, Cassie Danielle Fisher, Nicole Katrina Gall. Shelley Handley, Stephanie Noel Inslee, Victoria Ivanova, Susan Laurie Kellner, Erin Kathleen King Brown, Jane Elizabeth Lashbrook Sherman, Andrea Kathleen Law, Keith Leung, Katie Christine Lismore, Susan Barbara Martin, Nisha Mehta, Wesley Thomas Moir, Andrea Shirley Morrison, Colin Alexander O'Callaghan, Erin Rose O'Keefe, John Parent, Michael D. Phillips, Nicole Reed, Julia Suzanne Schmaltz, Jane Elizabeth Schufelt, Bobby Lynn Rose Shukli, Andrew C. Smith, Jennifer L. Tudhope, Jeffrey Stephen Westlake, Jessica Lynn Wilkins, Brenda Jane Williams, Paul Williams, Elizabeth Claire Willits,
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Faculty of Education for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Education. Jessica Daniel Abraham, Nicole Acton, Jenna Albrecht. Ellie Alexandro, Laura Emily Grace Allen, Maggie Allen. Carly Sue Allen, Malcolm Allen, Christy Amiot. Lisa Anderson, Atala Morame Andretas, Erica Ardran, Kathleen Lacey Arner, Roberta Ashdown, Emma Christine Ashmore. Gerald Austin, Heidi Baber, Allison Baker, Andrew David Balfour, Chelsea Kyla Ball, Philip Michael Bannon, Lena Barcook, Morgan Barnhill, Andrea Barrington, Mary Christine Bainton, Karen Susanna Beckenauer, Najit Benabid, Elizabeth Barrios, Bailey Jade Burlett, Jeanette Bible, Emma Biondi, Emma Blackler, John James Blair, Andrew Blake, Joanna Bodie, Hannah Beers, Eric Michael Bowl, Catherine Elizabeth Bowl, Meredith Bothwell, Paul Andrew Bowden, Andrea Elizabeth Bradley, Jennifer Moraes Braga, Tina Brandt, Stephen Brennan, Gregory David Broadhead, Erica Brownridge, Lindsay Bryan, Charlene Michelle Burgess. Alisa Ann Burnett, Tiffany Burnett, Tara Nicole Butler. Amanda Bronwyn Caldwell, Jason Jonathan Cambria, Lindsay Dawn Cameron. Rosemary Elizabeth Cameron, Joey Zhao Chow, Brett Walter Carroll. Stacy Cassell, Allison Catrice, Camilla May Coughlin. Derek Chan, Justin Kyle Chow, Ji Shen. Christina Chuchuk, Olivia Hewitt Har Chu, Young Young Chung. Leanne Nicole Chung Chun Lam, Vincenzo Giffani, Leah Clark. Tessa Clemens, Megan Dawn Close, Lauren Michelle Conley. Then we'll all be nervous. Terry Ann Catini, Kyla Christine Conway, Raymond Causa. Jennifer Marie Costain, Joel Countryman, Trevor Allen Curtis. Sarah May Diane Cowell, Caitlin Elizabeth Craig, Rebecca Lynn Creek. Andrea Marie Cremona, Kathleen Croxall, Rita Cugliare. Jillian Curry, Jane Margaret Ann Chakouche, Nicole Dagenet. Stephanie Ellen Days. Jenny Lee Dale. Jeff, darling. Elizabeth Davis, Karen Davis, Eric Michael DeVote, Erin Michelle Deacon, Laura Marina Elizabeth Del Maestro, Nicholas DeSanctis. Jessica Desjardins, Mark Alexandre Desprez, Jessica Tina Devers. Saffron Cheryl Lynn Dieroff, Janelle Christine Dietrich Bennett, Melissa Nicole DiNardo. Melissa DiPietro, Lindsay Dobrich, Andre Donnet. Denise Michelle Donkers, Antonella Jessica Donofrio, Megan Lynn Dorzers. Angelo Dostilio, John Alexander Drohuschuk, Katie Ann Drager. Christina Druska, Candace Nicole Duby, Amy Christine Dunbar. Brittany Dunn, Colin Michael Dunn, Caitlin Victoria Dunnigan. Kelly Louise Dunning, Joshua Stephen Duplessis, Sandra Dernan.
Nicole Marie Dutton, Elisa Duva, Janice Deinsfeld. Kayla Edgar, Natalie Antoinette Ellison, Caitlin Aiko Enta, Amanda Etier, Tiffany May Everett, Caitlin Everett, Greta Joe Fairhead, Anthony Joseph Falconio, Agata Falkowska,
Ladies and gentlemen, we understand your enthusiasm for those walking across the stage, but when names are being obscured during cheering, it's not fair.
Sarah Faubert, Brett Alexander Ferguson, Francesco Ferraiolo, Victoria Feth, Stephanie Nicole Fiorillo, Andrea Fisher, Caitlin Marie Fitzpatrick, Sheena Fleeser, Brittany Ann Foley. May R. Fortades, Brittany Erin Foster, Lisa Marie Fox. Marine Frances Savior, Madison Ashley Frechette, Courtney Froats. Kaylee Ann Furlong, Louis Gabriele, Lucas David Garswood. Jenna Teresa Gazzola, Heidi Ann Gemmel, Konstantinos Georgakopoulos. Farah Gonaim, Avinash Ghosh, Marlo Gibson. Megan Gignac, Carly Giosi, Rebecca Glenn Lines. Angela Lynn Gertz, Leanne Gonzalez, Caitlin Good. Nathan Keith Good, Katie Gore, Larissa Goreco. Jose Armando Govea, Courtney Grafton, Jennifer Graham. Daniel Gray, Kaylee Gray, Trevor Crawford Gray. Samantha Lorraine Graydon, Amy Griffiths, Amanda Grime. Brandon Grube, Michael Grugan, Amanda Nicole Gulia. Megan Rebecca Hagar, Jason Halili, Curtis Halpin, Nagam Hamo, Jessica Lynn Hart, Ian Hartman, Jennifer Louise Ione Horelo, Stephanie Raylina Hebert, Maria Elizabeth Heemskirk, Jennifer June Hill, Molly Hinn, Sarah Hickson, Bradley Hextra, Andrea Grace Marie Hotkey, Brian Hu, Hank Chun-Han Huang, Patrick Hughes, Matt Humphrey. Amanda Ann Hunt, Laura Hyde, Victoria Ip, Stephen Andrew Irish, Peter Irvin, Kevin Irwin. Bethany Jackson, Jennifer Marie Jackson, Caitlin Marie Jackson. Sarah Jackson, Christopher Robert Jagger Parsons, Barbara Jarose, Amy Evelyn Jeffrey, Tara Johnson, Megan Elizabeth Johnston, Jesse Michael Jones, Colin William Edward Jones, Jenny Lee Keene, Ashlyn Kelly, Rodney John Kilmer, Nathaniel King, Jennifer Lynn Ruth Kipax, Amanda Elizabeth Klomp, Amanda Comer,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very large degree group. Let's take a moment now to congratulate those who have already crossed the stage.
But wait, there's more. Lori Lynn Koning, Raina Simone Kanoniuk, Jonathan Frank Kumar. Tanya Kovacevic, Cassandra Christina Kuhlman, Crystal Kuhn, Marta Maria Kupyets, Carolyn Lambert, Nicole Marie Landers, Micheline La Rochelle, Eric LaRocque, Ryan Robert Elias Lawrence, Sarah Elizabeth Leeton, Mary Beth LeBlanc, Anne Lee, Yun Jung Lee, Helen Lay, Marcy Gale Lemon Lawrence, Amanda Marie Leonardis, Michael Brian Lapine, Tyler Hugh Lassard, Christian Timothy Levy, Kevin Limeback, Grace McMillan, Michael Mark Machinsky, Kevin Stephen McGree, Jessica Lines, Leanne Linga, Emily Ann Lorenzini, Megan Lane Lungsden. Yeah. Ashley Victoria Lunday, Walter Lundergan, Benjamin Lynch. Mary Patricia McCallum, Courtney McDonald, Mark Jonathan McDonald. Marissa McKinnon, Kelsey Madalung, Maria May Manick. Melissa Manahan, Sonia Markovich, Karina Madarasayan. Michael Mason, Kimberly Marie Matos, Francois Mayotte. Jacqueline Jordan McCann, Tara McInerney, Jenna McIntosh. Andrea Janet McIntyre, Tricia Jean McIntyre, Kyle Andrew McKay, gold medalist. Stephanie McCarricker, Anne Elizabeth McCurley, Andrea McLaughlin. Megan McManus, Erin Marie McNorgan, Diane Marie Maderos. Sandy Nicole Maderos, Crystal Milnichuk, Eric Simon Mendes. David Bruce Mendler, Nicolette Mendoza, Danielle Michelle. Catalina Anna Militaru, Crystal Millie, Ashley Tara Mitchell. Tamara Yvonne Mitchell, Rosanna Marie Moffat, Huck Young Veronica Moon.
This is the exception. This is an Andrea. Yeah.
Ji-Yun Moon, Andrea Bernice Irene Moore, Michael Moreland. Vanessa Morahovitis, Ashley Doreen Moss, Amy Mueller. Melissa Mullen, Kevin Thomas Murphy, Alyssa Ann Murphy Smith. Sherilyn Marie Murray, Erin Diane Myers, Rabab Namazi. Lindsay Nanscaville, Brittany Ruth Nicholson, Rita Michelle Nickel. Dean Nicoletti, Maria Nichevsky, Alexander Gregory Nistrovsky. Allison Elizabeth Noon, Martina Norman, Allison Oakes. Anya Katrina O'Hare, Kimberly Olson, Jenna Lee Oxenham. Julia Paonessa, Catherine Eileen Parr, Cassandra Parsons. Anne-Marie Pedersen, Leanne Alexandra Pellicero, Maggie Pellerin. Erin Beth Peltier, Sarah Justine Peltier, Julie Piggott. Stephanie Jean Piggott, Alexandria Mary Pittman, Jeffrey Plant. Rebecca Dawn Plevick, Larissa Opal Pacarati, Heidi Jane Pockroy. Anthony Policelli, Rebecca Pope, Daniela Popoli. Jason Prasad, Mary Ellen Proctor, Suren Koch. Scott Ramkissoon, Jennifer Reka, Stephanie Reed. Aaron Reeder, Megan Ann Regnier, Lisa Ricci. Tanya Rishi da Silva, Colleen Artline Ridley, Amanda Nicole Reese. Ashley Rigby, Catherine Rodenheiser, Jessica Amy Riggs. Lindsay Elizabeth Rogers, Kathleen Elizabeth Ann Romatowski, Natalie Romine. Natalie Ross, Matthew Walter Keith Routliff, Nicole Rutherford. Ashwini Maria Saldana, Amanpreet Sandhu, Erica Scott. What am I supposed to do? Where do I leave? I have no idea. After the next week, maybe? Just wait. Jennifer Scott, Rachel Lynn Senko, Kathleen Lorraine Shantz.
Jyoti Sharma, Catherine Elizabeth Sharp, Jacqueline Ann Shields. Jessica Shepard, Ola Maria Siatkowski, Andrea Silani. Jennifer Marie Scarrett, Teresa Yvonne Simpson, Kara Nicole Small. Mackenzie Smith, Megan Smith, Shannon Smith. Daniel James Smuck, Catherine Smythe, Christopher Summer. Vanessa Southern, Emma Constance Squires-Smith, Jennifer Stainforth-Rubble. Annalise Victoria Staples, Ashley Blair Steele, Angela Michelle Stemler. Melissa Stepanovich, Julie Stewartson, Lindy Stewartson. Joseph Robert Stiles, Siobhan Carolyn Stewart, Matthew Theodore Suda. Paula Sulio, Kimball Bradford Sutherland, Jennifer Tall. Vanessa Nicole Tancredi, Alexandria Tatum, Bev Taylor. Catherine Taylor, Robin Lynn Gillard Thibodeau, Elise Amy Jill Timmerman. Paul Christopher Tingy, Jacqueline Marie Titus, Ashley Lynn Tomek. Stella Topolkic, Tan Tran, Stephen Robert Trothin. Mackenzie Richard Troyer, Olivia Olga Tsiplikis, Allison Turner. Laura Van Dam, Nicole Alexandra Vandermark, Kent Jason Van Dyke. Catherine Marie Vanderhayden, Melissa Suzanne Van Ingelen, Christina Elaine Van Hees. Yolanda Nicole Verbreken, Kirsten Vermeeren, Zachary Matthew Vine.
Teresa, that's Vries, Vukovic.
Teresa Vang, Jessica Lee Vries, Rachel Catherine Vukovic.
That's Wad Grimbleby.
Deborah Rose Wagler, Erin Lee Walters, Terry Alicia Wad Grimbleby.
So that's a Weber. Second one is a Weber.
Kristen Elizabeth Way, Lauren Weber, Jennifer Weber. Michelle Wellwood, Ashley Westbrook, Brittany Wheeler. Rachel Wistons, Alicia Page White, Sarah Ashley Whitley. Hillary Mary Abbott Weeb, Emil Petrus Johann Weinker, Amanda Christine Wilkins. Keith Willoughby, April Diane Wilson, Stacy Christina Woldenberg. Alana Wood, Christine Ray, Jean Fen Jean.
We're going to have Jenny at the beginning, so Jenny Yin Yi.
Jenny Yin Yi, Samantha Danielle Yorksey, Elizabeth Erin Young.
That's Linus. Just like peanuts.
Melissa Young, Sherry Evelyn Young, Linus Shannon Yu. Blaze Zajac, Chelsea Zakari, Susan Louise Zerbrig. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the Diploma in Education, Technological Education. Gregory William Bain, Christy Caldwell, no, it's wrong. Sorry, Dino Caranci and Christy Caldwell. Eric Joseph Robert Davio, Mark David De Silva, Dwayne Douglas Danum. Tammy Flutterd, Dean Barry Henderson, Louise Florette Henderson. Kevin Hoskins, Joel Howard, John Daniel Kalmbach. Luciano Matucci, John Charles McAllister, Anthony George Miller. Jonathan Perriard, Derek Raymond Pryor, Bradley Russell. Jeffrey Schmaltz, Kenneth Edward Van Adder, Linda Joan Willems.
In the name of the Senate, I grant to the Registrar the authority to confer degrees and diplomas to those candidates whose names appear in the official program, but who are not present today. At this time, I invite Mr. Chris Makuch, President-elect of our Alumni Association, to say a few words.
Thank you, Chancellor. Graduates, alum, new alum, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Alumni Association of the University of Western Ontario, congratulations. It's my honor to welcome you as our newest members. You've worked really hard, gone through your studies, finished your exams, and this day is very, very important, and wish you all the best going forward. Having said that, you're now part of a really important community. Your journey will continue. Your relationship with Western is, I think, even stronger today, and hopefully you can help keep that commitment and that relationship going. The Alumni Association is here to support you, and we're all over the world. As Dr. Chakma said, over 260,000 alum. That's part of your community now, in 150 different countries. We all share a commitment and a belief and memories of Western that are important. I hope as you leave the school today and you look back, it's not goodbye, but see you soon. I encourage you to be a part of the Alumni Association in any way that you want. Hopefully you've had some experience with the Alumni Association through different programs in the last few years, be it Backpack to Briefcase, last lecture, some of the other events we do. I hope going forward you continue your journey with Western, volunteer where you have the opportunity, get involved where you can. You're a special group right now in terms of education. That's another relationship that you guys all share. Be a part of that community, be a part of the Western broader alumni community, be it at branches or chapters in your area, and always feel free to come back. The gates are always open. Congratulations, best wishes for your future as Western alum. And I'd like to, on behalf of the Alumni Association, invite you, your family and friends to join us in front of the UCC on the patio in the tented venue for a reception after the ceremony. Thank you.
Before closing convocation, I wish to express my appreciation to all who have contributed to the success of the day, and in particular, and on your behalf as well, I want to thank the University of Western Ontario Convocation Brass for their magnificent performance and their director, Professor James Mackay. May I request that the audience remain at their seats while the academic procession leaves the hall, and convocation is now adjourned.
changing accounts. So if it's, I'll give you a month. See you tomorrow, right? If they're not gone by a month, then you're out of luck. Thank you in advance. Are you done?
Now I have to get to
Yeah. So the first would be 1, 2, 3, 7, 5. Always do with Mr. Jasavella's kind permission, of course. That's a winner.